Hello guys,
Welcome to another video. This one is a new week called Brave New World, and the topic for today is Mr. Google.
so who is Mr. Google? So what is Google and why do you use it for?
So do you think it is just a search engine or a software company? As we can see here, Google is actually a big software giant in Silicon Valley, and almost 50,000 people work at Google.
Imagine to have playground in the factory or in a company.
So the purpose for today, we will learn about Mr. Google to be able to create works of visual art in the form of diagrams to convey thoughts or stories about various incidents. We will use foreign languages to search for and collect various data and access the internet to search information effectively.
Okay, the vocabulary. Number one, application. The application, that's all what you see here on the right. So Google has many applications, so apps, also like for the phone, as we call it now, apps.
The second word is tool. So tool is like an instrument you use to perform certain tasks. So inside the app, Google gives you many tools. So in Gmail, it gives you a tool to attach pictures. It gives you a tool to attach files. Google Drive has tools to upload and download files very easily. Okay, so tools are small programs within the application.
Okay, number three, storage. Storage. So Google Drive is a storage tool. So it's where you can store pictures, files, like a drive.
Number four is browser. So browser is, we covered this last time. So the browser is an internet software that lets you browse the internet. Okay, so Google Chrome is a browser. Internet Explorer, Firefox are also browsers.
And the last one, catalog. The catalog is to summarize all the apps together, to have all in the same room.
So Google is a search engine, and its purpose is to catalog everything on the internet. So it makes a list of everything that you see on the internet. It makes a directory, and when you search for information, it finds the closest web page to what you have searched. Okay, and on the right-hand side, you can see a map of the Mayflower Luang International Airport. So Google has also created the most detailed maps, and even Street View is available. Right, so all of that helps you to search for data better.
So Google was founded on September the 4th, 1998 by Larry Page and Serge Brin while they were PhD students at Stanford University in California. Then they hired Eric Schmidt to be the CEO from 2001.
So they were very young, they were straight out of college. So the people who invested money in Google told them that they need a senior CEO, and that's why they hired Eric Schmidt to join the company. And on the left-hand side, you see a picture of Stanford University. So this is in Palo Alto, California.
So open your notebook and watch the two inventors, how they invented Google, and how it became famous and why, and also the history of Google.
Okay, the history of Google is important because you have to make a thinking tool afterwards. So take down notes from these two videos.
Today, more than half of the Valley's engineers were born in other countries.
Doing something that is really innovative and cutting edge and that you can't do anywhere else. That is a compelling story, and that's why they come here.
The roster of immigrants who have shaped Silicon Valley includes Alexander Punyatov from Russia, founder of Ampex, Andrew Grove from Hungary, CEO of Intel, Jerry Yang from Taiwan, co-founder of Yahoo, Andreas Bechtelsheim from Germany, and Vinod Khosla from India, co-founders of Sun Microsystems, Elon Musk from South Africa, founder of Tesla, and from Russia, a young man named Sergey Brin.
Sergey's mother was disappointed he didn't complete his PhD, she told me. I was like, well, everything else turned out okay.
It's hard to think of another Valley company whose name is said as often by so many.
We say the internet gathered up all the world's information and gave us access to it. No, Google gathered up all the world's information and gave us access to it. It's really the ability to search for knowledge that is the transformative event of our era.
This global giant, like so many of the Valley's legendary firms, owes its founding to the Valley's magnetic attraction, a force that draws two ambitious young people here.
It's, two people out of Stanford, that never had a job before and started what today is one of the most successful companies in the world.
Larry Page is from Michigan. Sergey Brin, born in Russia, grows up in Maryland. After college, each wants to pursue a PhD in computer science. Each decides to come to the Valley, to Stanford, where in 1995 they meet. The next year, they decide to work together on a thesis project to improve the sorry state of search on the internet.
Search on the internet had become horrible.
The sheer amount of information available is immense, almost overwhelming.
And so finding things that were relevant was very difficult.
You might search for some important topic and you got somebody's kid's term paper on it, you got somebody who'd written about it, whatever.
You couldn't find anything anymore because the stuff you were looking for was like 100 pages down.
But Brin and Page think they found a solution.
The thing that really shifted was the recognition that deciding whether a particular thing was relevant to your search was not just a matter of looking at what was in it. You want to look for pages that other people think are valuable.
It's an idea they borrow from their parents.
Both Sergey and Larry were academic kids. Their families were professors, they were graduate students, and they were extremely familiar with the way that citations work in scientific literature. I write a paper, other people who think it's a good paper put a footnote in their paper pointing to my paper. And maybe you could take that same structure and import it to the way that people link one page to another. So if lots of people link to my page, it probably means it's a good page.
The idea was to build a system that you could reliably count how popular something was.
They named their search method after the mathematical term for one, followed by 100 zeros, intentionally misspelled.
I remember this day, the first search I did on Google was dramatically better than all the search that I had tried previous to that.
Page and Brin, who are planning to stay in school and finish their PhDs, set out to sell their spiffy new tool.
They were looking to license the technology, and you often think you produce something wonderful and other people would love the baby you've created and would want to raise it, but the reality is they got other things going on and it doesn't look as pretty to them as it does to you.
They spend a year looking, but no one will pay for the rights to their search engine. So they ask David Cheriton, who's an investor as well as a professor, if he can help them find money to start their own company. In 1998, he asks a Stanford alumnus who co-founded Sun Microsystems to come to his home to meet Page and Brin.
David thought it would be useful enough for us to meet and just sort of talk over of what it means to start a company if you're still a Stanford student. So we met at David's house in Palo Alto, and it was like early morning at 8 o'clock, and I had a 9 o'clock meeting at Cisco, so I didn't have much time.
Larry and Sergey arrived first, and so they were out there on the front porch with me and connected into my Ethernet at home. And Andy pulled up in his Porsche and hopped out, and they demoed the Google running on this laptop.
it was working astonishingly well. I mean, even as this small demo. So clearly, I thought this was going to work. That was not even the question. The only question was, how would they make money with this? So the next question was like, what's the business model? How you monetize this? And they would say, well, we can then link this all to these relevant ads. So relative to the search term you have, they could have this unlimited ad inventory and just you search for a tennis racket. Here's an ad from people who want to sell you tennis rackets, and and they will charge 5 cents a click for that, which is still the basic fee today. So in the back of my mind, I was calculating, they're going to get 1 million clicks a day at 5 cents a click, $50,000 a day. They cannot go broke. So it was clear that this was a money-making machine.
So he said, I don't want you guys to have to, take too low a valuation or to have to worry too much about these money things right now. Why don't I just write you a check? So he went back to his car, came back with his checkbook, and he wrote us a check for $100,000.
A new company is born, and soon a new verb, to Google. The website pulls in so much ad revenue that Google quickly becomes a very big business. When it goes public in 2004, it's worth $23 billion. By 2017, it's one of the most valuable companies on earth, worth $600 billion.
This company's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're taking a look at the history of Google. PhD students Larry Page and Sergey Brin began Google as a research project in January 1996 while attending California's Stanford University. By developing a technology called PageRank, they were able to create a search engine that could estimate a website's importance based on its incoming links. Initially nicknamed Backrub, the Google.com domain name was registered on September 15, 1997, and the company incorporated on September 4th the next year. Its initial public offering came on August 19, 2004, though the founders and then CEO Eric Schmidt remained in control. As a result of the IPO, many of the company's employees became paper millionaires, and this led some to wonder if Google would live by its "Don't be evil" motto. Like many Silicon Valley startups, Google was first based out of a garage. Today, its corporate headquarters is in Mountain View, California. Known as the Googleplex, the offices perpetuate an informal and casual atmosphere. Employees are encouraged to spend 20% of their time on personal interests, and this has led to the creation of services such as Google News and AdSense. Google's most popular service is its online search engine, Google Search. Users employ this tool to look for information by typing keywords into the search bar. The incoming results come from the billions of web pages the company indexes, and the order of the results is partly based on PageRank. Google has expanded its search results and paid listings onto other websites through AdSense. AdSense and AdWords form the engine of Google's multi-billion-dollar revenue machine. Google also offers marketers a free service called Google Analytics, which produces website visitor statistics. Thanks to its innovations, the company is now one of the biggest brokers in the online advertising market. Google Search has branched out to offer other types of services in many different languages as well. These include Google Image Search, Google Video Search, Google Maps, and Google Translate. Google has also released several internet productivity tools. The most well-known of these is Gmail. Gmail was the first free webmail service to maintain emails from the same exchange collectively in a common thread. Gmail was also the first email service to offer users 1 gigabyte of free storage. Today, Gmail offers practically limitless storage for a small fee. Another web productivity tool is Google Docs. This service is comprised of software that allows users to create documents, spreadsheets, and presentations and store them in the cloud. These can be composed and edited via a web browser and can also be accessed by more than one user. This software is considered by some as an attack on one of Microsoft's core businesses. Google has also worked on other projects. Notable ones include the open-source web browser Google Chrome, the mobile operating system Android, and the social networking service Google+. To bolster their mobile efforts, Google also acquired Motorola Mobility in 2011. In addition, Google has acquired other businesses as launching pads for new services. For example, Keyhole Inc. was developed into Google Earth for its 3D view of our planet, and Grand Central was developed into Google Voice. Two of the company's biggest successes through acquisitions have been AdWords through the Applied Semantics deal and the popular video sharing website YouTube. Google also has a charitable arm called Google.org. This not-for-profit organization's main initiatives revolve around developing renewable energy, improving access to health services, and reducing worldwide poverty. Throughout the years of its existence, Google has not been without its detractors. One recurring issue has been privacy. These concerns range from the Gmail program's automatic email scanning to create targeted advertising to the data and image collection of Google Street View. The Google search engine has been criticized for its censorship of search results, and even the company headquarters has been accused of unnecessary energy use. While the company is now facing threats from Apple and Facebook, Google is sure to remain a dominant force in the global internet industry.
So Google Apps, we'll see now step by step all the apps. So Google for the web, so you can search information with Google. Whatever you want to know, you can find it on Google.
So the Google search, it receives about 3 billion search queries every day. Okay, so that's the world population is 7 billion, and Google search receives almost about 3 billion search queries every day. So that's a very high number, as you can tell.
Then you have Google Mail, has 1.8 billion users every month. So 306 billion emails every month.
And a lot of you use Google Translate to translate between English and Thai. And 500 million people are using Google Translate every day.
Then we have Docs, Google Docs. It's like Microsoft Word and Excel, but it's in a Google format. So document, spreadsheet, drawing, survey, and presentation application with documents, collaboration, and publishing capabilities.
And then once you make your file, once you create your file on Google Docs, you save it on Google Cloud. So Google Cloud is an online backup service and storage space.
And then Gmail integration, calendar, sharing, and a quick add function to create events. So when you have the calendar, you can create events, and with Gmail, you can directly add on the calendar. So everything very easy to add. That's what you will use in the future when you have your first job, maybe, and if you have many meetings to do. It's very useful.
Next, we have Google Maps. So it's a mapping service that indexes streets and displays satellite and street level images. It also helps to provide directions, and many times you can search for local businesses on it as well.
And then Google Chrome, the most popular web browser in the world, was the one most effective compared to Firefox and Internet Explorer.
And last, you have the satellite version of Google Maps. It's a virtual 3D globe that uses satellite images, aerial photography from Google's repository. Okay? So repository is a place where you save code. So just like you have Google Cloud to save files, repository is where all the computer software code is saved.
So what are the benefits of Google? So number one, interface is simple and easy to navigate.
And also the information is very easily available. Before Google, you had to look through newspapers, you had to look for books, but now everything is easily available on the internet.
And then most services are free to use. So all the apps that we said before are for free. If you need to add things like the Gmail, if you don't have enough capacity of storage, you can buy it, but otherwise it's for free.
And also Google helps you save time on research because the information is so easily available.
Number 5, sharing information is made easy.
And also Google helps to improve your productivity. Okay, productivity means if you do X, you get 2X in return. So it increases the return of investment.
Number 7, directions can be easily found. So in Google Maps, it's very easy to use, and then you arrive to the destination.
And finally, you can also, a lot of people search for prices on Google, and it connects from buyers and sellers all over the world, and you can save money on finding the cheapest product.
Okay, let's see the thinking tool, the work mode. So you have the diagram, you have here the history, and then the benefits. So you can go back to the video, and then just copy what you see on the slides, and also about the video that we showed you on the beginning.
Okay, so for the video, we'll give you the details of the history and the benefits. We have given you 7-8 points in the previous slide, so make sure to copy those. And once you finish that, you have to make the application at the bottom. So you have Gmail, and that is one hint that we give you. Tell us 5 other Google applications that you use every day.
What applications do you see for Google in the future? We have already many more, and Google has more idea for the future. So what do you think for yourself, what they see in the future?
Okay, so think about it. I think Google has made a catalog of all the data on the internet, and think about how they can use that data for all the applications going forward.
And as always, find the meaning in Thai on your notebook.
And make sure to take down notes from the video on history. And finally, complete the diagram on Google's history and benefits. Okay, that's it for now. We'll see you again for next video tomorrow. All right, so take care.
Bye-bye.